those two people for supporting the channel. And I really can't figure it out, guys. Why only every video we get 1 or 2, and very rare 3 people support the channel with, some funds to keep it going, keep the website going. I don't know if it's been regulated. I know some people have said that they've struggled to donate. It just won't accept it. Even when I've tried donating money onto this channel just to see if it still works, I've had to do it 2 or 3 times before it'll accept it. It's strange, I just can't figure it out. But nevertheless, for those 2 people that watched the video a week or so ago, that made some contributions towards it, I can only say thank you and kudos to you. I think you understand what I'm trying to do here. Let's be clear on what I'm trying to do. But there's no way I myself or any other organisation on this planet can stop what is taking place right now with it. The magnetic poles are going through a reversal. There's no doubt about that. It's been confirmed even by these organisations that are not talking about it as much as I always say, as what they should be. But it doesn't matter whether, Britain leaves Europe or not, or who wins the next presidency of the USA, or whether you're going to finish that last payment on your house. What I'm trying to say is these are the concerns that we have over here in the West, and they're, irrelevant comparison with people that are living in the Middle East, in some of those poorest countries. They're the ones that are getting clobbered a lot harder than us through the direct impact of the Earth going through a magnetic reversal. For some of you that are unclear how that could be, well, the magnetic reversal is having a direct impact on climate. Think about it. During a reversal, the magnetic poles weaken. We know that. We're with the understanding that they're about 20% weaker. The magnetosphere is of what it should be during a non-reversal period. That brings a multitude of problems with it. It doesn't just change the climate, it also increases the rate of cancer. If we lose the protective shield from harmful cosmic rays, more of those will come inbound and will affect biodiversity on this planet across all ranges. It also affects the migratory animals. As you know, animals are turning up all over the world where they're not supposed to, and that is because their natural navigation system is reliant on the fixed poles that are migrating. If they move a significant distance, the poles, in a short period of time of, say, 10 years, that is enough for these animals to start turning up on coastlines where they're not supposed to, and in the wrong seasons. So, the impact on the magnetic poles migrating is already apparent. And when I say, people are losing their lives, I kid you not, they are. Because they're desperate. They go to companies for help, such as Monsanto, to purchase crop seeds that are bespoke manufactured to withstand certain climates that are predicted for the foreseeable future. They go with them, and because of the sporadic period of climate that we're in at the moment, these weather patterns are unreliable and they get it wrong. They might have chosen crops better suited for more droughted periods of times, or even more precipitable times where there's a lot more water. If they'd have only stuck with the crop seeds that their ancestors used, the ones that have lasted and the test of time through natural evolution, they probably would have stood a better chance with their crops, because, let's face it, they've earned their right to be on this planet for that period of time. I could go on about Monsanto and their seeds. I don't even think our digestion systems handle these foreign crops that are being grown. We've seen through laboratory testing, and doctors have been, quietened and shut up about the results of these genetically modified seeds and how they mutate, animals that they've been tested on in laboratories. It's a serious matter. We are living in a point of time where the quest for money is far outweighing, the quest for doing the right thing. There doesn't seem to be any, compassion, let's just say compassion for human kind at the moment. There is no conscience by these people that are driven by money, and it's rightfully so. I mean, you can put yourself in their situation and try. I mean, you can try to understand how it is for that person that is pushing these crops. He needs his job. He needs, just like all of us, to put a roof over our head, pay for the mortgage, etc., etc. He misses a couple of payments, just like the rest of us. We're out on the streets, and nobody wants that. So he's being driven by the thought of failure and losing everything as a result of doing the wrong thing by pushing these crops. Ethics is the word I was looking for. There is a lacking of ethics in this day and age, and it is very quickly, I believe, going to catch up with a lot of us. I mean, how serious is all this? Guys, I'll try to give you a couple of analogies, but I mean, let's just be frank. We're on a busted planet right now during this magnetic reversal, and things are going to get much worse for the 7 billion human beings that are at the top of the food chain. And that will have a detrimental impact on all the other species on this planet as a result of it having hardships on ourselves. If you was on a ship that sailed regularly across the Atlantic Ocean without any problems, then this is that one time it's got major problems. And as a result, it's going to not be a pleasant journey. For the people that are on the lower cabins on this journey across the Atlantic this time, it is going to be a lot more unpleasant for them. And in this analogy, I'm talking about those people in other countries, less developed than our own. And they're the ones, that are copping the blunt of it. Just look at the statistics of these farmers in countries like India, and so on, so forth, of the suicide rates, the ones that have already lost their hereditary lands that have been in their generations for many, many years, gambling on these crops that do not deliver as a result of the sporadic changes right now with the climate. There was one recently mentioned by another channel. Most of you probably follow it and you know what I'm talking about. I won't mention it because I'm not sure how, you get in trouble sometimes on YouTube for just talking about, the subject that somebody else has talked these days, and that's a bit of a shame because I think what we're all trying to do is just spread the awareness that, thousands of tons of rice were destroyed through shifting climate. Thousands of tons that feed people, staple foods. It's going to drive up the cost of these commodities that people need, and as a result, there's going to be more starvation. Simple. And that's what we're trying to do on this channel. We can't stop the magnetic pole reversing, but what we can do is we can have an early warning system. We know that when the magnetic poles get into the weaker field lines, they move a lot faster. At the moment, they're rocking between the strong and weak fields. And we know that something has changed because they are no longer travelling in a single vector. As you can see on the chart above, they have diverted southeasterly within a couple of years. And that tells us that for the last 100 years something has been gradually happening, and now something has altered, which has changed the game considerably, because I think a lot of us did feel that this would continue going towards Siberia, then peter out somewhere over Siberia until they regained. But that doesn't look like it's going to be the case. We don't know how close we are to the end of this change of North Pole where it's positioned right now. We just don't know. And until we start monitoring the magnetosphere strength, which is something that I can do, and the position of the magnetic North Pole, which is also something I've been attempting to do for some time now, we can get a heads up on when that period of time comes. Other than that, we can just explain to people, as we've been doing over the years on this channel, about some of the likely events realistically that will take place during this magnetic reversal. Now, I know a lot of people don't know this, but I'm not the only scientist that has an input on these videos. There are some physicists, and without mentioning what organisations they come from, they do chime in now and then, and they do have an input on some of the things I discuss on this channel for you guys. And it's understandable why we can't go mentioning organisations and names. I have done in the past, and at the end of the day, it's people's livelihoods that depend on it. So for the same reason, they can't come out and start openly discussing things like this, because they work for an organisation and it reflects negatively on the course of that organisation that they work for. Let's just say that is the incentive which stops them doing that. Not only that, they're like the rest of us. They need to keep the bills being paid, and they've got a regular job which they enjoy doing. And it's not to say that they're being selfish or anything like that. It's, guys, I think if we all do what we can, then, it's better than none of us doing nothing at all. And that's what takes place. Only it doesn't get mentioned every week about such things. Look, I didn't want to do a monstrous video this time. I just, again, want to reiterate the fact of, the current situation with regards to the magnetic North Pole, how serious it is, and how it affects others. And, if we all come together, we can help change, the outcomes for some people's fate in this world. We may have already done so. Some of those farmers might have watched some of the earlier videos. I know that the countries that, where these people live, I am getting large views. We get on average around 60,000 views on this channel a month, and probably half that on the website as well. So it's not doing, we are putting the word out there, and I dare say we are helping people. But there is 7 billion people on this planet, and this is not one of the main topics of the mainstream media, because obviously, it could be for a number of reasons, guys. We can speculate on why that is, but I would say it comes down to money at the end of it, and ethics. So I'm not going to go on too much. I'm going to mention the fact that there's a link down there. You can support this channel, and it would be nice to see more people supporting this channel than 2 out of the 4,500 or so that watched the last video. I know a lot more could be done, and it's for a good cause. So, having said that, guys, I'm going to say what I usually do. You enjoy the rest of your week. I'll be back, hopefully within a week, with some new data. You never know. Might be something more interesting, or a little bit more progression on the trimagnetometer station that's being built right now.